Tonight on Q2, a Billings cold case 13 years in the making.
The tragedy is still fresh for the family. They're now demanding justice for a daughter who they believe was murdered.
You know, you always think you tuck your kids in at night, they're safe. She wasn't safe.
Plus the pros and cons of artificial intelligence.
For most educators, I think this is all kind of coming very fast and furious, and we're trying to figure out how to best deal with it.
An educational tool could be serving as a vessel for cheating. We'll look into it.
And fast food troubles.
We feel like we're not alone, but it is unfortunate.
A once booming industry now struggling with a nationwide problem, leading some in Billings to shut down.
The MTN News starts right now.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us on this Monday. I'm Russ Riesinger.
And I'm Andrea Lutz. A Billings couple still searching for answers tonight, 13 years after their daughter unexpectedly died.
Brooke Katie died in March of 2010. Her death ruled undetermined. But more than a decade later, her family is convinced that she was murdered.
And the Yellowstone County Sheriff's Office confirms the investigation into the 28-year-old's death remains open. Our Haley Monaco takes a closer look tonight and an MTN original report.
Everyone was her friend. She worked hard, very involved in sports.
28-year-old Brooke Katie was a friend, daughter, and also a mother to her 3-month-old son.
You know, you always think you tuck your kids in at night, they're safe. She wasn't safe.
Brooke's parents, Mary and Mark Katie, have now gone 13 years without answers as to exactly how their seemingly healthy daughter died in March of 2010. Brooke's father, Mark, recently retired from the Billings Police Department, where he worked as a lieutenant at the time of her death.
She was killed out in Lockwood, which is jurisdiction Yellowstone County Sheriff's Department.
Brooke's autopsy hasn't been publicly released because the investigation is still active, but her family says it lists the cause of death as undetermined and states Brooke had an unknown chemical in her system. Mark says that chemical was related to her boyfriend's work.
The autopsy came out that Brooke had a high level of a chemical that's used in the oil field in her system. And his job, well, he always told us that he worked in a lab in Williston mixing chemicals for the Bakken.
Her parents are convinced there was nothing random or undetermined about their daughter's death. They believe she was murdered.
About 3 weeks before she died, she came to me and she said, if anything ever happens to me, will you please take care of Caden? And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Mark says he's frustrated at the way the investigation into Brooke's death has been handled. He believes mistakes were made by detectives from the start.
Talked to him frequently, made suggestions, watched as they didn't do things.
We first reached out to the Yellowstone County Sheriff's Office 2 months ago, hoping to discuss some of the concerns the family has, but requests for an interview and even a comment have been denied. I briefly spoke with Sheriff Linder, who could only say investigators have and continue to do their due diligence on this case. Regardless, the case remains open over a decade later, with an undetermined cause of death and a family frustrated and heartbroken.
I have no confidence that will ever be solved.
How does that feel as parents?
I know, it just makes you feel like failure, you know?
In Billings, Haley Monaco, MTN News.
The state's controversial TikTok ban faces yet another legal challenge, this time from the social media app itself. TikTok filed a lawsuit this morning arguing Montana's ban violates the First Amendment. According to court documents, the social media platform seeks an order invalidating and permanently preventing the state from banning it. The complaint also says matters of national security are carried out by the federal government, not states. Montana is the first state in the country to ban the popular app.
Smoky skies are stretching into another week. We're definitely seeing them earlier in the year than we're used to. And if you're noticing a cough, sore throat, runny nose, you're not alone. Wildfire smoke can be irritating, especially for kids. MTN's Jackie Coffin steps outside to learn when you should keep your kids indoors.
It's the season of summer camp, Little League, and long days spent playing outside at the park. But lingering wildfire smoke here in Billings can take some of the fun out of all of that. Building a bond between kids and nature is the mission of the Montana Audubon Center, where 80% of kids' time is spent outside.
We work with from the time that they start really walking all the way through high school.
But kids' health and safety always comes first.
One thing we always check is weather, and smoke is a part of weather.
As massive wildfires burn across Canada, spreading smoke across the lower 48, Riverstone Health says everyone needs to be cautious about smoke exposure.
I would recommend people use the guidelines that are on Montana DEQ's site for basing decisions on having activities such as track meets, softball games, and things like that.
In decoding air quality advisories, sensitive populations includes kids.
You might not want to send them out running around the playground and causing a lot of exertion, but you can still go out for bits of time. It's not that you have to totally block yourself from being outside. Again, depending on any health-related matters.
When air quality drops, creativity helps the outdoor-based learning center keep kids engaged.
It's also a great learning resource of like, why is it smoky right now? What is causing the smoke?
In Billings, Jackie Coffin, MTN News.
Well, that smoke is still lingered out there in eastern Montana. You can see Glasgow, 3 miles, Miles City, 4 miles, but that's going to be a thing of the past as we're going to have some wind push through here, a cold front from Havre down through the eastern part of the state. That's going to move through this evening and push most of that smoke well into North Dakota by the morning time. So we should see a great improvement in visibility overnight. Things we're going to talk about as we move through later in the show. The smoke is going to be out. The rain chances move in. Temperatures not as hot as we've seen, but still above seasonal averages. And then, of course, the chance of rain almost every day through the week. Not a washout, not rain out days, but a chance of afternoon showers and thunderstorms through the weekend. We'll have the details a bit later in the show.
With Memorial Day weekend on the horizon, Montanans now have more opportunities to buy liquor. Governor Greg Gianforte signed a new law allowing the state agency liquor stores to stay open on Sundays and holidays for the first time ever. However, the 3 stores in Billings tell Q2 they don't plan to be open on Sundays for now because of being short-staffed. There are 95 state liquor stores across Montana that purchase liquor directly from the state's distribution warehouse. That bill passed with bipartisan support. Only 6 states in the nation remain where liquor sales are still prohibited on Sundays.
As graduation nears for many college students, a new tool for education is creating some controversy.
Yeah, we're talking about ChatGPT. It's driven by artificial intelligence. It's something that could open new doors for teachers and students alike, but it does come with plenty of concerns.
Tonight, Arlena Howder dives into this new tool and the impact it could have on education moving forward.
Artificial intelligence models like ChatGPT are changing the way universities evaluate the work of their students. And it's no surprise as I can just type a prompt into the generator and it'll give me a full-blown essay in seconds, making it easy for students to pass off its work as their own. It only took 2 months for ChatGPT to reach 1 million users.
It's a lot more like talking to an actual human. It is becoming the most used aspect of the internet in record time.
And as more and more universities implement the artificial intelligence language processing tool in their classrooms, more students are also using it to plagiarize work.
It's very difficult for us as instructors to figure out, is this the student's work or is it not?
John Pennell teaches computer programming at MSUB's City College. He's one of the many college professors now tasked with going the extra mile to make sure assignments are actually being done by his students and not artificial intelligence.
You can see that it's building responses step by step.
That means one-on-one conversations to ensure the work is legit.
By making it more than just taking that work, but actually asking or working with the student, we're able to achieve much better learning and make sure that the learning's taking place.
MSU Billings also has 2 committees in place tasked with trying to figure out how to tackle the challenges ChatGPT poses. And MSUB isn't alone. Universities nationwide have seen a spike in plagiarism because of the technology. Some are now making students write essays the old-fashioned way, using pen and paper as one possible solution.
What it's really caused us to do as a university is take a deeper look at how do we evaluate student work.
work.
But there's no arguing ChatGPT is also revolutionary, and Nicholas Anderson is among the many who also view the technology as a useful learning tool.
Having a better form of search and discovery at my fingertips allowed me to understand things much faster than I think I would have been able to without it.
Anderson just received his associate's degree for computer programming and knows the possibilities it could bring to his future career and computer programming in general.
I truly do see it as a tool that's going to bring a lot of good.
In Billings, Alina Howder, MTN News.
Tonight, an effort is underway to bring a tech hub to Montana. That effort being led by Montana Senator Jon Tester, who believes there's a lot of untapped potential in rural areas of Montana. A tech hub is where people come together from several different sectors to develop technology that the country can use. Tester says most of that work right now is being done in Silicon Valley and the northeastern part of the country, but hopes to make it a reality here in the Treasure State. The first step right now is working on a proposal for federal funding, and the senator says a lot of people are already on board with the idea.
We had a tech hub roundtable in Missoula in February. I don't know, there was probably 75 people there, maybe 100 people there, college folks, business folks, economic development folks, to start on the planning. And they've been planning what we were going to do, what kind of proposal we were going to put forth to the Department of Commerce to try to get a tech hub to Montana.
The deadline to apply is August 15th, and Tester says he anticipates learning near the end of the year if Montana's application has been approved.
Still to come on the MTN 530 News on Q2, staffing shortages now taking its toll on fast food restaurants across our city. We'll look into the problems next.
And later, Trailhead Treats will take you out and about on a foodie tour of Billings that specializes in all things sugar. Keep it here.